Good morning. This is Morning Perfect Base, and I hope you are having a good morning. I am going to work on my perfect base a little bit every day, and at the end of a couple months, we're going to see how far I've gotten. My goal here at Morning Perfect Base is calm, informative news and opinions. Except today I'm talking about Avengers Infinity War, so fair warning, just tons of spoilers ahead for Avengers Infinity War Part 1. I'll be honest with you, I saw this one without having seen the third Thor movie, or Guardians of the Galaxy 2, or Doctor Strange, or Ant-Man, or Thor 2. I just really catch Cap and Iron Man. They're kind of my jam. I'm invested in Tony's story. I kind of bet that Tony would die in this one, for reasons that I will get into later. As you can see, I'm working my last courtyard here. What I might do just for trees, I might actually just swap over and leave this for later and do the dirt on the opposite corner. Anyway, I did enjoy this movie. I kept, it had three main stories going. It kept them all going really well. One of my favorite parts was the fight against Thanos on Titan. It was tight. It was clever. The fight against Thanos' army in Wakanda had some cool scenes. Probably carried a bulk of the movie's character work. Honestly, I gotta put these in the thing. I love the I Am Steve Rogers bit with the I Am Groot. It's one of those little interactions that you want from characters who've never met or interacted, meeting and interacting for the first time. I also love Steve and Black Panther fighting back to back. That's my jam. I just love Captain America fighting with people. Dude better get a shave and a haircut before the next one. That's all I'm going to say. It's not like a sexually attractive thing. It is like a seriously just weird to see Cap all, I don't know, grunged up. It doesn't work. It works for Bucky. Oh, hey, fuck, free arrows, man. Always free arrows. It works good. But it works good for Bucky, but not so much for Cap. Thanos' plan, I was a big fan of that. Simultaneous strikes before the universe could respond, and maybe leaving Thor out to catch the attention of the Guardians of the Galaxy so that it would pull Gamora in, so she would lead him to the Soul Stone. That's a bit shaky. It kind of works, but there's no way to know that the Guardians would respond. Or that in the hugeness of the universe, the big McLargeness of the universe, they would be there. I'd be happy with a deleted scene or Word of God that says, hey, yeah, no, Thanos totally put the galaxies, the Guardians, and Thor and stuff, and just counted on Thor getting hit by a vehicle, as he often does, to enact that part of the plan. I don't think it's a big plot hole, though. I know some other people have said there's a plot hole of, just make enough food to feed everyone. I don't know if you understand exponential growth patterns. I don't know that Thanos does either, because really those people within a limited period of time are just going to grow again. The Haplobarbarians, who are a peaceful race of people in the outer Sagittarius arm of the galaxy, or the outer arm of the Sagittarius galaxy, I don't know. Those guys who practice conscientious living and population controls, those guys got screwed hard, man. They're like, no, we're living conservationists, and anyway, it just feels like the responsible aliens all got screwed. It's like Thanos couldn't just do TED Talks on sustainability and then just every so often just get on space C-SPAN and just murder the least sustainably living galaxy. That seems like a thing. Seems like it'd work. Anyway, I like that everyone's on the back foot. Tony Stark's using his tracksuit Iron Man suit, which has bullshit made up nanotech in it, and Captain America doesn't have his real shield, and Spider-Man's not used to the suit, and Doctor Strange is played by Benedict Cumberbatch. Everyone is at a disadvantage, honestly. And that's what I like about it. I look forward to getting everyone being front-footed for when they finally go after Thanos with the plan. I'm looking forward to that. And there's going to be some setbacks, but I still feel good about it. And I do want to say that I think this movie exists in some part because Marvel has been so great at noticing criticism. Every frame of painting talked about how they failed to have distinctive music. You hear that Avengers theme song everywhere with every possible variation on it now. They talked about Man of Steel, how they didn't save civilians in Age of Ultron. They saved tons of civilians. Although I think the timing on that necessitated that already being in the works. But Tony put a kid into the middle of Civil War, and then you get to Infinity War, and he's trying to sideline Spider-Man because that's the right thing to do. I think these movies keep getting better because there's no pesky artistic vision getting in the way of the popcorn flick. This is a classier version of Michael Bay flicks. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's how you make a shit zillion dollars. All you do is just give a fuck and be aware of what people are saying, and you can make better movies. The ending reminds me of the best of both worlds, Star Trek The Next Generation Season 3 cliffhanger, where Captain Picard's been stolen, the chain of command shooken up, and the Borg appear just as unstoppable as ever. And they take this desperate gamble to try to stop him. It's not quite like that because here, like, we're kind of on a downer ending. Our cliffhanger's the downer ending. Infinity War has this denouement, and the best of both worlds, the ball is still in play. I think we know in Infinity War that the ball is still in play. I think it's a halftime and not the end of the chapter, which again I'll talk about. But I think it's still a fairly compelling cliffhanger. I am curious as to how they resolve it. I think there are a couple of limitations in how they do that. I think that in a lot of ways I predict that people won't do something because it's too stupid, and they do it, and I'm like, well, I feel like I'm just being a dick now. I feel like the only way I'm not right about my prediction is if they do something stupid, and then it's very hard for me to criticize after that point. Case in point, Magic stories. What this really reminds me of is the Magic story of the Gatewatch. Magic the Gathering's characters are planeswalkers who travel between different worlds. They have super magic powers. They all got together to stop like a big threat, and they call themselves the Gatewatch, kind of like the Avengers. The story is intentionally modeled on superhero stories. So they get really lucky in that first team up. And kind of the same way the Avengers all happened to be on hand and then broke up and then reformed to stop the Chitauri and Avengers, Marvel's the Avengers, whatever. And then the Gatewatch, they team up, they get lucky, they have a few more successes, and they do something really stupid. They really go in against the odds, and they get riggedy wrecked. And they're still recovering from that. So it feels like the Magic the Gathering story is where we are with the Avengers story, which is where we're between the hard wreckage and the heroes rallying to finally save the day, because they do it at a cost, but they're still going to win, which kind of sucks. It reminds me of Cardassian literature, but that's enough Star Trek. Real criticisms, and you knew I was going to have them. It's got the Doctor Who problem, which is Doctor Who wanted the Doctor Who reboot, one of these big earth-shaking events, but then they wanted to go on to the next episode and have the same old Earth. Well, you can't have a big earth-changing event if you're going to set the next story in plain old Earth. You have to revise it or rewind it or ignore it, and that's what Doctor Who does. And consequently, all of those big stories meant nothing. It's the character stories that should mean something anyway. And maybe that's the good thing to focus on. But if you're going to say, this is important because the world has changed, and then you bend over backwards to waste a story telling us about how nothing actually changed, I think we have every right to be pissed. And I think we have every right to say that that's bad storytelling. Superhero is a subgenre of science fiction. And the being in a universe where everybody gets basically raptured, where half of everyone gets raptured, and there's only rumors about why it's happening, that's a really good story hook. I want to see where that story goes. But the deal is that story would overpower the flavor of the ostensible superhero hook in the story, which they absolutely do not want to do. So I have a feeling like it is all going to get reversed with the time stone or whatever the fuck. And consequently, it's going to make everything, the significance of everything that they do that's supposed to have a big consequence seem inconsequential. It's all going to happen, then it's all going to get undone, and then we're not going to give a shit. I feel like this is why I quit reading superhero comics. I will occasionally find a good comic or, a good run, and I'll pick that up if it comes highly recommended. I'll do my disco comics, but eventually, like, none of the big stuff matters. It doesn't matter at all. I think it's great fodder for fan fiction. I think that is the highest artistic contribution that modern superhero comics can aspire to, is inspiring good fan fiction. And if Avengers does the same thing, if they go backsies on this with the Time Stone or whatever, they're going to be in the same spot. And I said it wasn't artistic anyway, but I think it's going to hurt the investment that a lot of people have in the story, a lot of good faith investment. Also, my expectation of this was way off, because this was originally Infinity War Part 1, Part 2, and then they made the very conscious choice to go, no, it's going to be the Infinity War and the Avengers 4. It's going to be different. And that changes the story structure, that changes what you expect. In Part 1 and Part 2, you get rising action into a cliffhanger, and then you get resolution in Part 2. In two related films, like we were told this was, you have action and resolution, and then a second movie that has its own action and its own resolution that follow from the events of the first one. Think about Star Wars versus The Empire Strikes Back, right? Connected, same characters. Star Wars New Hope stands alone, and The Empire Strikes Back tells its own story that follows from that resolution. That's what I expected here, and I'm actually kind of angry that I was misled about that. I don't think it was malicious. I just think that someone made a decision, an artistic decision, which has no place in these movies. Because they made a big deal about going from Part 1 to Part 2, and then suddenly not. And it's gonna be a fourth related but not the same Avengers Infinity. Anyway, so in the next two films, Captain America and Ant-Man will take place in the past before this. So specifically, no time passes between these films. I don't know why I'm getting angry about it after the fact. Like, this isn't a big deal. It's a popcorn movie. I feel slightly misled, so it's on general principle. Maybe this was a good workman-like movie that did all the things that I wanted it to do, and I clapped like an idiot when it was done. I didn't literally clap it, like inside. Like how you lol when you don't really lol. So I don't know why I'm so angry about it. I guess I feel angry on principle. I feel maybe angry that my predictions were wrong because I made a set of assumptions going in that I think they led me to, for no benefit to them even. No benefit at all. I don't know, but everyone in this thing is a giant bitch. Like, that's my thing. Like, Loki, Gamora, Doctor Strange, Peter Quill, those guys fucked up the universe because they were giant bitches. The strongest bitch in this movie is goddamn Scarlet Witch. Make it Scarlet Witch in the Avengers, because this woman can get shit done. It's good. I only saw the first Guardian of the Galaxy, but seriously, fuck these idiots. The Guardians of the Galaxy are the fucking worst. They are irredeemably stupid. I cannot stand them. They're so fucking stupid. I like that. Oh, what have I done? Huh. Oh, this is like a natural cave or some shit. Fuck. I don't know. There are two things that I love, absolutely love, that I rarely ever see that this movie fucking did. Wrist punching, which is where someone's gonna punch a person, and then boom, there's suddenly a knife on their hand, and they're gonna knife punch that person. I love that shit. I don't know why. I just love it. And this movie does it a half dozen times. Still not enough to satisfy my insatiable love of knife punching. And it can't just be like punching with a knife. It's gotta pop out of your wrist. The next thing is the sky falling. I love the sky falling. I love that trope. I rarely ever see it, but basically the sky is pouring down around the hero, and they are just like unfazed by it. And that doesn't happen here so much, but it's close. It's close enough that it makes me happy to see it. When Thanos drops the moon, but really, that moon would have fucking killed everyone. Like, no joke. When you move that much mass from like that distance, from moon distance in space to a planet, that's mass times velocity. That's that should have killed everyone. Like, it was played off as like a cheap move, like throwing a car at a dude. But let me tell you, oof, buddy, that is not an area attack. That is suddenly an environmental hazard. Whoop, them creepers. Oh, shit. Fuck. Shit. Alright, well, I just found my way into a cave, which I haven't done in a while on all of this. Whoop. So, anyway, that's as good a time as any to call it. So those were my quick 15-minute thoughts on Infinity War. So until I get a good sign-off, no creepers behind me. Haven't been spelunking in a while. So until I get a good sign-off later.